CRO-AM Connections, connecting with Croatian Americans through conversation and events to share our culture. Today in our show, we'll be talking to the stewards of the 106-year-old Croatian Beneficial Club, aka Rankin Croatian Home, in Rankin, PA.
Thank you all for joining us today. Dobro nam došli. Today we're having a conversation with some of the stewards of the 106-year-old Croatian Beneficial Club in Rankin, PA, aka Rankin Croatian Home. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. So we're doing something a little different today. We're going to call it our special edition because we're changing the format a little bit. Typically we do a 3-part format where we do a little bit of a person's history, and then we do what they're currently in, and then future events. This one we're going to do a little about the Rankin Club, right? And the history of the club. It's 106-year-old. It has a very long history. We're gonna hear some of that. And the reason why we're doing this is because we were prompted by 2 previous interviewees, right? We had Coach Matt Furjanic Jr. here a couple weeks back. We were on the 3rd floor interviewing him. And then recently we interviewed Janet Craig, who is a club member as well, but also current president of Lodge 6. And they were super excited that we were, one, interviewing with them, but also they were really excited about the history of the year. They want us to sit down with you all to talk about that history of the club. And so that's why we're excited. So that's the first part, diving into that tradition, those history pieces. And then the last part is just looking at the future aspirations of your vision or everybody's vision of the future to keep this going. Because there is that desire from Saul. You wouldn't be doing this if the passion wasn't there to keep it going. And how do we do that, right? That's always the question. So we're excited to hear a little bit about that. So before we jump into that, I think we need to give everybody proper due and introduce each one of you. So if we say your name, your title and your role here at the club, and how long you've been a member of the club. I know there's some long history here. You can give a number or you could just say it's long. We'll see where you want to go with that, but we'll just go around the table.
Okay.
And start with you, Jackie.
Okay. I'm Jackie Zidanic, and my current role here is steward. So basically I take care of everything pertaining to the bar, making purchases, deliveries, any maintenance, anything dealing with the liquor license, or just anything that
comes
pops up.
That's
Yes,
good.
yeah. And some things that are surprises, but it's an old building, so sometimes something that you think is working fine, and then all of a sudden there's a trickle of water, and then all of a sudden something explodes.
Yeah.
But so anyways, that's my current position. But as far as my involvement here, I've been coming to the club ever since I was a small child. My dad would bring us down here on Sundays because we had to pay more for our lodge membership, and that's how he would do it. And then eventually, a little bit later, at age 8, I think it was, joined the Rankin Junior Tamburitzans. So, and then after that, it was just a progression of moving into club membership, and then my children were also members of the Tamburitzan, Rankin Tamburitzans, and now we immersed in what I'm doing now. So
Full on. And there was in the job description, it's other duties of the side, right? Whatever comes. Right?
Yeah.
This is probably the bigger list, right?
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, Jackie. Jeanette?
Okay, my name is Jeanette Ruyechan Ellis. I've been a member also since I was a child. I was a Rankin Junior Tammy also. My 2 kids were, and now my grandson.
Nice.
So, I'm president of the Croatian Home. My duties is whatever they tell me to do. I, of course, run the meetings, which I try to keep short because it's just fun. Always on a Sunday, and we're all ready to go someplace. But yeah, we've done a lot of fundraisers here. Some have worked very well. Some flopped. But I'd say mainly is my idea, as far as president of the club, try to bring in revenue to the club to make the repairs that we need.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. Besides that, I'm just here, not as much as Jackie, but I'm here a lot.
Good. Thank you for that. And then Bob.
My name is Bob Pollack. I'm the manager of the Rankin Croatian Club, as we call it. My affiliation, I've been here since I was a kid as well. My parents' wedding reception was after the year when they got married. So, but I mean, since I was a kid, I joined the Tambourine reluctantly. I didn't want to join the Tambourine, but I was forced into, so I wasn't allowed to go to trips anymore. If I didn't join, here I am like 30 years later teaching Rankin Tambourine.
Because you are the direct.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, so that's where I started. I had joined this club when I was 21. I actually, well, before that, when I was in high school, I was one of the pop boys at Bangdale and Badman in high school. So there was a bingo here every time. So I was that. And then joined the club when I was 21, and I've been manager well over 20 years. I can't remember when, I can't remember when I started. Like, so I think I basically take care of the floors above the bar. There's a lot of overlap, like Jackie says, like, then we have, like, I think all the lines are kind of like smeared. Like, you help everywhere you can. Like, she'll be down here before event, cleaning bathrooms or painting on the first floor. I do whatever I can down here to help decorate. So, manager, I take care of rentals, cleaning. I'll be up there mopping the floors when something's going on. Take out the garbage, any kind of things like that. And like Jackie said, there's always some little, you fix something, then something else breaks. So it's a constant thing here. You have to just keep on top of everything that you can. So.
Yeah. No, we hear that a lot in some of our interviews, and it takes a village, right? It's everybody's in.
Right,
It's doing
right,
whatever it
yeah.
takes. So, hats off to y'all to keep this going, because it's not easy, right? It's you're on call all the time. So appreciate the effort that you guys put into that. And just want to translate one thing, because I'm not a Pittsburgh person. So for the first time I heard pop, you said you were the pop boy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody soda. You were getting soda for
We
people.
don't call it
right?
soda, we call it
So just want to make that translation. That's funny. Okay, so let's dive into some of the history. I kind of prompted some questions. Let's start, if we can, at the beginning, as best as we know. There's always lost in translation over the years, but do we know when it started and who some of the founders were? Is there a year or a charter that was out there?
Okay, well, first of all, this is not the original building.
Oh, good.
The other building was actually a house that was located down below where St. Mary's, the Visitation Blessed Virgin Mary, was the Catholic church in the area.
wow.
There was a lower part of Ken
Yes.
Avenue
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
so after church, the club was just down below the church. So
Right.
the members would go down there and get together. And so anyways, it was a house from what I understand. It was the lower level of a house.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I guess as the population grew, the more immigrants that came to Rankin early in the 1900s, they came here for work.
Okay.
They left Croatia to come here, and there were jobs down at Carey Furnace and the mills.
Yeah.
So they came here and stuck together.
Yeah.
And the reason for a club, a social hall,
Yeah.
grew because there were just so many
You're
people.
supporting the new people there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it became evident that they needed a larger building, and
Right.
that's how we got this.
The original name, Rankin, it's Rankin because Rankin, the original name was Rankin Station, because there was an actual train.
yeah.
There was a train station. If you go a little bit further down, so I mean, you'd have people coming like public fresh from Europe. So this was like, you go meet people, you go there, people So, a large congregation of Croatian people come here to support the new people that just came to America. So, I mean, that's another benefit that this place provided. Give them some people they knew, like we feel a little comfortable in the country, the community. So but the name has the beneficial club in it as well.
Yeah, I did hear somewhere, I can't remember where, about Rankin Station.
Yeah, it was Rankin
Things to
Station.
Rankin Borough at some.
Right,
There
you're
were
right.
actually two. There was another Hawkins station.
Right.
So if Hawkins would have been the predominant, this would have been Hawkins.
Odds instead of
Oh,
Rankin, yeah.
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 Yeah, but it was Rankin Station. Like even the old fire company, they always, all their shirts always said Rankin Station. There's actually a flag upstairs. It was one of the original flags from, they were lodges before the Croatian terminal meeting, but it says Rankin Station.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a picture of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And so the year, there was a charter done, right? And what year was that?
1917, no.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The charter of the club was 1917.
17, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not, maybe 18.
Yeah.
But I think it was 1917. And so that's whenever the club, the Rankin Croatian Beneficial Club, was established.
Okay.
And then, it became obvious that they needed a larger place, a larger building. And then they moved up here. The land was actually granted to the club from Lodge 6. Lodge 6 owned the land.
Okay.
And so they turned it over to the club to build this big,
Right.
enormous,
Yeah.
beautiful building.
Yeah, it's big.
But so that happened in the dedication of the building was in 1926. I'm sure that ground was broken.
Right, the year before was, I think, if you look on the old blueprint.
Right. I think the blueprints say
Yeah.
25, but maybe the talk,
Right.
they started talking about
Right,
it.
and I think if you look upstairs too, there's actual. I think how they did this is that people, instead of like taking out a loan per se from the bank, families gave what they would almost like a loan. They give you those records upstairs that they gave like $200. So that's how they paid for the building. And you go look and you'll see this one was paid back. This one was paid back. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
to
I
see that.
understand that it was only a matter of years before all of the loans were paid back.
Right, and then
Right.
to the people too, like a lot of them, like I said, it was families that donated
Right,
money, so it was
right.
pretty interesting. I think anything now you can take out a mortgage or something like
Yeah,
that, but it was like actual people that just gave their hard-earned money to build this building. So
And I'm sure they weren't rich.
Yeah,
no, right, there's a
Well,
lot. There's a
working
lot.
still
Yeah,
means
right,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's a lot of money at the time. Plus, you're coming up on the crash, right?
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Well, that was
recession.
before, so this was right before the stock market crash in
Yeah,
2009.
Yeah.
good point. Yes.
So I guess everything was okay, and we did make it through the,
Yeah.
the depression.
Right.
And the depression years. So,
And so it sounds like they came together like most beneficial societies to
Right.
support the.
Right, new people from
people,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Now, some had like, we heard, I think when we were at Coper, some had like insurance policies or death benefits. Do you know if they have a thing?
There was a
place
death
there?
benefit here. I mean, I don't know if they still do it anymore.
Right,
But
we
technically,
still don't issue-
what is it?
we don't-
$100? Is it $100?
it started at $100, then it
$100.
was 50.
Yeah.
And when you join us, then you could have your repass here.
Yeah.
Passed away. You could
Really?
have your Some people were laid out here at one
Oh, yeah.
point as well.
Yeah, one time.
Well, we
Yeah.
talked to Flo Queen. Well, Flo Queen,
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
on to Flo Queen, she's probably the oldest member of the club that had a father that was a founder. And she talked about, it wasn't her father that was laid out here, but it was, I forget his name, Krill? But anyway, she
Yeah.
remembered him being laid out in the room that we.
Oh, like the meeting room. Yeah, the
the
meeting room, right. Yeah, I think maybe that was part of the benefit as well, even out here.
Your
Interesting.
actual.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That was kind of
Kinda scary,
important
too.
to the people that didn't have homes here. Like they were called boarders. They would rent a bedroom from a family. And first, when they passed, that family didn't want their body in their house.
Yeah.
So they were
Right.
laid out here.
Yeah, 'cause
Makes
if you look-
sense.
yeah, a lot of the houses around it, like there were families that maybe lived on the first floor, and they had like she said, boarders that lived. If you look at some of the buildings, like in the town here, you see like a side entrance
Yeah.
to them because that's where people that live on the second floor. We think about like if you think about now, like these houses, everybody has
Yeah.
a house that's too small, too bad, and
Yeah.
like an entire family of like 6 or 7 people in like living on one floor.
Yeah, it's what they did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you do, and then they rent. That's how they survive too. They rent it out to either family members or strangers. Even there's whole second floor of the house just to.
Most of them came from the same general area of Croatia, not the same villages. Well, some did come from the same villages, but but this
Yeah.
seemed
Bob and I
general.
went for in Croatian, what, 15?
Oh, I know.
Long
Just
time
what,
ago.
yesterday, right? 2003? Or is
Yeah,
that
we
Yeah,
went,
right.
we
Yeah,
went
you were
to
there too, yeah.
a church that had a cemetery fair.
And it was like Rankin. Like
It was like ranking
yeah.
all the names on the tombstones. They were all like, oh, look at that. There's Lusco. There's, oh, look, there's Uncle Bill. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
things like that. And so they did come
Yep.
from the same area.
Right, it was all on the cool pub. It was
Right.
Rizal, Kamania, Ruyechan, where we clearly came from.
Yep.
Rachidsa.
There's a Burlock, all those places are like,
I don't think I was so excited to go to the cemetery that day.
Yeah.
Well, full disclosure, Heather and I were on that trip too.
Yeah.
We also, if you remember, we went to that museum.
right, and there's,
Yeah.
there were banknotes from the Rankin Bank there,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that is super
Right.
cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's when we talked about some of the other lodges that I think we're going to start to put a map together and
Right.
show where all the different folks came to. And it's a very
Yeah, it is.
consolidated-
Because I know like the north side, there a lot of those, they were from Yaska and things like
Yeah.
that, Savarsko and stuff like that. And like the north drove, like all of those, like right along.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Very close in Pittsburgh,
Right.
And very close.
Yeah.
Mhm, Well,
And
they
yeah, and then
got
St. George, they're all
comfortable.
from,
Yeah.
and,
Overland.
Overland, thank you.
Yeah.
I can get the word on, yeah. So yeah, they were pretty much kept to their own, basically, yeah.
And so you mentioned Flow Queen. We're gonna you shared some a little bit of information. You did a recording with her. We're gonna try to capture some of that.
Okay.
That was great information that she shared. And she did talk. Let's go back to the kind of the folks that were boarders, because there's like showers, and so I think they came over and used some. of
Yeah.
that.
Some of it, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, okay, first of all, the showers are down here in the men's room. My understanding, okay, maybe they did, maybe some of the immigrants, came here to take showers, but my understanding is that the
Yeah.
guys would be down at the mill
Oh,
and they would be dirty from
Yeah.
their jobs, and they would
Come here. and
rather
yeah.
than go home,
Yeah,
they would
okay.
come up here for their drink
Yeah.
because they had to.
Some good thing.
Well,
Some
just
of them
like
didn't even
today.
have a shower; they had a bathtub.
Yeah,
So,
well,
could you imagine?
just like today, after guys are, put in a long day of work, they have to have their beer,
Yeah,
right,
Yeah,
to
sure.
relax. So they would come here and shower, and then from the shower, come here to the bar.
Yeah.
And actually, the bar used to be over there. This is not the original bar, the setup. It was a smaller bar that would be along that
Yeah.
wall instead.
and I think there's some pictures upstairs
Yeah.
too. We're going to overlay those to show the original. One of those are really neat wooden bar. I think.
Right.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
You know,
It's sad it's
we're lucky
gone.
to say it's gone, but this
Everyone
one,
everyone to modernize everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That,
And so some of the events we talked about, there were some wakes and some effects that were laid out here. I think there was you mentioned the picture of the
first original banquet.
banquet
Yeah.
up there.
there was an athletic. There was the Croatian Athletic Association. So there was they actually had they had a basketball team. They actually played
yeah.
basketball on the third floor.
I think that was a
Yeah.
little bit later. That wasn't like in the early 20s. It might have
No,
been
that was in
40s.
40s, right? But like early, I mean, there were always dances here. Everybody, if you talk to anybody around there, they will talk about the dances that used to be the Rankin Croatian, and it wasn't just Croatian. Like it was like popular music of the day. Like there were
Big bands.
big bands, dances here. So
Well, Flo Queen had talked about that in our conversation. She talked
Yeah.
about weddings, but she also talked about, because I was asking a little bit about the war years. I mean, years
Yeah.
that we don't hear much
Yeah.
about. But she said that in the 40s, after the soldiers came back from war, that they would have big bands,
Yeah.
dances upstairs for the guys, the soldiers that would come back. And like a lot of weddings, but
like
a
Christmas
lot.
parties, like
And
Yeah.
she
there's a
said,
picture up there of one of the old Christmas. You'll see it's actually you can't tell it's a bar. It was a Christmas party back, and we had to be early. It looks like you can see all the exposed pipes. And,
but she said it was difficult to rent this place
Yeah.
because every weekend
somebody was here.
something-
Yeah, there's logs
something
up, there's
going on.
books upstairs of like rental. Like it was like every
Well,
weekend,
she
every
said it
weekend
was-
there was something going
It's
on. Yeah.
impossible to get
Weddings.
because weddings.
Big wedding, yeah, a lot of weddings.
That's not the case today because people want an air conditioned building, and that's
People want different things. They want the
yeah.
vacation wedding kind of deal
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
destinations.
Yeah. So there was a lot going on back in the day. Yeah, I've seen some names like for Jan. Do we know if there is relatives still part of the club from the original members? Is there any? Do we know of anybody or?
Well, Float Queen, she's close. I wouldn't say close to 90. She's
Oh.
probably in her late 80s. Very. She was very much a part of this, and she's since moved out to Westmoreland County because that's closer to her grandchildren. But she's probably the one that has most knowledge of
Yeah.
the early
That's
years.
still-
And
I'm trying to
her
think of
last
anybody
name-
else.
her name, well, Queen is her married name, but her last name was Chulik.
Okay.
And her father was one of the founders of the club,
Oh, wow.
John Chulik.
I can't really
Yes.
think of anybody else though.
You know, she's
No,
the
like I
only one that
said,
comes
for
to mind.
Janek, he was. I'm assuming it's the same family. He was actually the mayor of Rankin for many years. Maybe his father and grandfather
Could have been,
one of the founders. His name's on the charter as well. Those are the only two names that look really familiar
Right.
on
Well, there's other names, but we don't
but we don't.
know.
I don't have any
descendants.
association with him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and is sometimes through the generations it gets lost.
it's a
but-
lot, right?
Yeah. But so you you talked about the Lodge 6 and how that started with the club and the land here, and so I think other just lodges, CFU lodges, and can you talk a little about that relationship and
Let
all
them
that?
talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, Lodge 6, it was one of the original lodges the Croatians started, and they were the Croatian-speaking lodges. And then there were newer lodges that formed after they were the English-speaking lodges. So
Okay.
here in Rankin, the Croatian-speaking lodge was Lodge 6, the English-speaking lodge was Lodge 17.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, that's what it was. So there was always disputes back and
Yeah,
forth.
yeah.
You know how people are thinking, but that's what it was. There was an English-speaking lodge and a Croatian-speaking lodge.
Right.
So Lodge 718 was the English-speaking lodge, and then after as many years, it just numbers dwindled, and then it was kind of like stagnant. Like they weren't having regular meetings,
Okay.
and then there was another lodge at East Pittsburgh 141 that kind of the same thing. They had lost a lot of their not even members, but like their officers. They were kind of stagnant. We were considered a stagnant lodge. So CFU suggested that we merge the two lodges, and the Lodge 141 number was kept. Was when they merged lodge, they always keep the lower numbers.
Okay.
So that's what it was. It was there. Like I said, there were the Croatian lodge and the English speaking lodges. Then the English speaking lodges formed. They're the ones that always sponsored Croatian at Kennywood. So
Okay.
we have a lot of those meetings here too. But then that all got kind of blurred now, because I mean nobody speaks Croatian at the
Yeah.
meetings anymore.
Yeah.
So now we have members from Lodge 6 on the Croatian Aid Committee. So that's what back in the day, that's what it was. There was English speaking lodges and there were Croatian speaking lodges. That's why there were two lodges.
Yeah. Generation after generation, and
Right, everything is blurred. Right, that's what happened. So
then you got-
that's why it started that way.
we were leaving the hotel this morning, coming over here to set up, and we saw all these kids in their baseball uniforms. People get pulled in so many different directions. So it's
Right.
like every
Yeah.
flow. of
Right,
any type of social club.
right.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting how things. But you're still here. That's the
Right.
important piece.
Yeah.
You guys are still here, and so that's important to acknowledge.
What else was here today? There used to be a Croatian bowling league here.
Yeah.
A Croatian business bowling league. There was a softball team, right?
Yeah.
Those are later in
Yeah.
time, but I mean, still like this. I think the softball team, probably the bowling went up to probably the early '90s.
It's a 10-pin businessman.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Croatian businessman. Yeah, that's probably how I first got involved with this. My dad was a member of the bowling league, and my uncles and
Years and years ago, it was basketball too.
that was the actual
Played
athletic
basketball,
play where they
so-
played on the third floor, and then, like I said, like there were those different things like that. Then that's another activity. They come and smoke this work. They'd have they'd have a party upstairs, like drink, sell beer. I think you paid so much. And it was like the Croatian businessmen that Moldly would have a smoker on a Friday night during they come their smoke. They were called smokers. I thought that was funny. But yeah, so they'd have that kind of stuff upstairs. But like I said, I just think it was basically like, I mean, in terms of like other things culturally, like the Tamburitsins always, this has been the Rankin Juniors like home base since we've Is our,
1956.
I was gonna say, but it's like, is there 65th this year or something like that?
59, I think, was the
Yeah. So yeah.
What was the Cola Club?
Yeah, right.
It was
So,
the Cola
I mean-
club, which evolved to the Chamber Influence
So
when they
we've been
added
here.
the
We have
Tumblr.
we have a ton of our fundraisers here. I mean, back like, I'm trying to think of any other kind of like
organizations.
organizations that use it, but also had events here. Like I know the Croatian Church, they used to have their
Hrvatski Zena.
the Hrvatski Žena, they used to have meetings here. There was a lodge for them here back in the day. The Croatian Church did have a bingo night here every once in a while here
Right.
too. So I mean, it was used by a lot of the Croatian groups here in the Rankin area, little areas, but it was also used by other, not just
Firemen.
the firemen used it. There was actually a Serbian lodge here that met here for many years, up through, because I think at one time there was a Serbian club here in Rankin when that ceased, they just came up here and started to have. So it was like while it was, I mean, predominantly Croatian, there was still a lot of other organizations that use this. I mean, if you think about this area, this was like the biggest. So it's one of the biggest buildings in the local area around here. But I mean,
Yeah, I was reading an article I found online. Somebody was doing an ethnographic survey of
I've
Rankin.
read that before. Yeah,
And I think it was an amateur.
Right.
She prefaced everything that she was doing
Right.
this on low funds, and it wasn't professionally done. But it was interesting enough to show that there was the Greek, the Serbian, the Italians,
right,
and that the Croatians still have the strongest presence
Right.
to date. And I think it was back in lane 2.
right.
Because of the social aspect of with the junior
Right.
jamming,
Right.
the club, and the lodges, all that.
Right.
I thought
Yeah.
that
If
was
you,
pretty-
yeah. If you think of anything else, I mean, the only thing left predominantly here in Rankin besides the Croatians would be like the Orthodox Church here that was, Slovak for Peter Wisem. But I mean, this is like legitimately like the biggest, still active organization in this area, like ethnically. Like I
The
think.
Italians.
The
the
Italians
Italian.
have a very strong community here.
Yeah, but I think like, if you think about activity though wise, I mean,
Yeah.
we're pretty much we're the only one before he left still down.
Yeah, because I think when they closed Primavera in Sicily, that's when the Italians kind of dispersed.
Right. I mean, they still did. They actually, what they use? They have their annual event. They have Saint
Saint
Simeon.
Simeon.
That's their patron saint. That's not all the Rankin Croatian.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
They'll be having that here in a
Welcome
couple
back.
in October. Yeah, they have they have the parade. They have the banquet here and everything. So
Well, that's a good segue into current day events. You're coming off a successful Croatian Day post. Talk about that and talk about the current day events that something more of that.
Well, the
started
ironic thing is all three of us are on the Croatian Day committee.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, that's actually
changing
evolved
too.
too. We had some recent issues with Kennywood, so
we used to be here at the club. We used to be post Croatian Day. So it was like a 2-day event. There was Croatian Day at Kennywood, and then they have their parties and everything that day, and then the next day was called post Croatian Day. It was a big. I was told back in the day it was like the Croatian Day committee actually took over the
they did.
club.
They
Like the
did.
Croatian Day committee, like the bar didn't have to bring everything out and like settle up the books, and then the Croatian Day committee would come in and we get a whole
With their own
separate.
bartenders.
Well, they would just take over their club, and then that kind of that hadn't happened in many years.
Yeah.
but-
The standing was 4 people out from the bar.
Oh yeah.
Well, it
Plus
was,
the
it was the
offices.
whole building.
It was a whole floor. They would have like a
actually
band. Yeah,
they
would have a
had-
concert.
There was
yeah.
a concert upstairs.
I
and
performed out there as a
dancing.
kid for
Yeah.
Croatian.
I remember that
yeah.
too. And I remember staying here till 5 o'clock in the
Right,
morning.
and going to work. Did
Well, no,
it said
I mean,
7:30. I did.
School the next work because the day after. It's
So
always
sound-
Labor Day.
So it sounds similar to the one that was just had because you started early in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't go as late as it,
It was
used
close,
to.
but it was consolidated into one day
One
because
day,
they went
yeah.
to Kennywood.
Yeah.
So it was crunched
So there was a
in.
picnic out. Yeah, there was a concert up on the 3rd floor. We had food on the 2nd floor, and then we had another band here at in the evening. You're right there. It doesn't go as late. You're right. It usually goes till 5.
5 in the morning,
Yeah,
yeah.
down here till 5 o'clock in the morning.
We're all getting old.
Yeah, exactly.
A successful Croatian Day was when we had broken bottles. We didn't have any this year.
No, exactly right. Yeah, but it was yeah.
And so, some other events. You had the gypsy string.
Gypsy strings were good. That was something new we're trying. Just
Okay.
just trying to think of different things, like fundraise, keep the money. Like Jeanette said, you want to keep funds coming in the top. So how are you going to do that? We don't have the people from the mills coming here anymore after work. We don't have people from church coming here on Sundays after mass. So
the Bullers coming.
right, on Friday night. So you have to think now. You have to be like kind of inventive thing out here now. What are you going to do to keep this place going? So we're trying different things. It was a pretty successful for a first one. It was like kind of like testing the waters. You had a lot like learn things, but I think it was a successful event. I think we'll do it again.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think
we had talked about doing maybe not every month, but close to like a different ethnic. Maybe next time doing a Greek.
We're gonna probably do a Greek
and
one.
having Greek performers.
We might try to do like a Christmas one where like we do Christmas traditions, not just Croatian, but like probably the other ethnic groups that are people that are members of the club. Like we have some Greeks that are members here. We have it's an Alban and Slovak.
Quite a few Italians.
Yeah, exactly.
Irish.
Yeah, right. So just do something like that. And so those are kind of things in terms of what we do now. Like one of our big fundraisers is the indoor picnic we have like every March. So it's like basically like a picnic, like you'd go to a picnic ground, but we have it here in the building. Sell food. We have usually two bands here, one or two junior groups, an adult group. We sell food, and it's almost like it's the same kind of format as Croatian Day, where we do stuff. We don't use we use a third floor basically for just to keep all the little guys out of the out of being under everybody's feet, so they can run around, do whatever they want upstairs.
Well, it's also a way for the kids to get together and to
and do their right, exactly, yeah. So it's fun up there, and then we have performances on the second floor, sell food on the second floor. That we have been up there, and then we finish up the evening down here. We do a annual Sarma sell in every
January,
Martin Luther King weekend. We do that.
Well, parodies, you guys.
That's actually the TAM. That's what the club does.
The club does.
Yeah, the TAM.
The Tammies do the potato.
The club does.
They weren't doing the other varieties, so we thought that there was. Yeah.
So, like the club will either do like sauerkraut and sweet cabbage, leftover. So, the Tammies don't make the potato one. They make all the other flavors. Trying to think was anything else. So we'll try
what we also do, we have a weekly bar bingo too.
Oh, that's a
big one. Yeah, that brings people in, especially whenever the jackpot gets really high, and people like to follow high jackpot.
And I think they're kind of like stem back from that's something we forgot to mention before. There used to be a bingo year, like there was actual 2-floor bingo here.
Yeah. So what we have to do is basically like try to attract different people with different events, like the Tambora brings in a certain niche of people, and they come from the Pittsburgh area depending on who the band is, they'll come here to see them, and that's wonderful, and we want to encourage that. It's great if we could do that all the time, but not because people more locally are other niche, other backgrounds. We have a lot of Irish and Italians, so
we try to find common ground.
Right.
Bingos
the bingos. That brings them in weekly.
Right.
Like this week, we'll have a lot of people down here because
the jackpot's up.
But then we also do on March Madness. This was Willie Ruppic's. This was his idea. Give Willie credit.
Right,
but,
exactly.
So for March Madness, we have the first day of basketball. This place is jammed.
All the TVs are on.
No, this is all the local guys that are involved that love their basketball, love sports.
Yeah. Right.
So it's guys that went to high school together, and Braddock Hills or Braddock or up in Swiss Valley, and they all get together, and and every TV is on a different basketball game, and of course, everybody's checking their sheets. Brackets are broken quickly, but so we try to hit different groups. Because we're not going to make it just appealing to the Croatian community in the area. It's dwindling, and people are spreading out. So we have to.
You have to appeal to.
We have to appeal to
open yourselves up and be just more.
Yeah, we tried oldies. It sort of worked for a while, and then it fizzled. Yeah, maybe the first one or two we tried karaoke, and that's you were listening to the same person singing.
We can't forget, because I saw on your Facebook, and there's signs around here. We're in Steeler country, and I think on your Facebook last post.
Oh, they do. Right.
Sunday. We used to be open on Sundays
all the time.
But but we didn't.
Well, once
It was
St. Mary's
empty.
closed.
Right after St. Mary's closed. and
What
then
time did it
to
open?
get
It opened at
somebody-
11 o'clock, right?
Right, he opens an
They
hour before the game.
used to be open every Sunday because people from after church,
I
they
know.
register.
Was one of the bartenders.
Right,
I-
exactly. It was
it
Sunday
was
afternoon.
knee-deep
It was
on
Sunday from
Sunday morning.
11 to 6, right? Was it something like that? And then that just kind of dwindled out, so we were closed. And then people started talking about wanting to come down for games. So that's when
Yeah.
Jackie, well, we got a local, like a kid here that comes in, he was willing to attend more.
On
So,
Sundays.
so we have people that come down and watch the game and stuff. It's just nice. Oh, sometimes there's food, it's
Yeah. So, a couple more questions and then we're going to wrap it up here. You have a lot of great exhibits. Can you talk about how over the years, if you know, how those were accumulated? And
Bobby's the
Bobby,
expert
yeah.
on.
we're going to take some pictures and videos, but just in a kind of high level, how that happened.
Like the costumes and things like that, those were donations from either organizations or there's several pieces up there that were donated from local families that they were actually their pieces from their family that they brought over with them. So we have a couple pieces up there like that, but the other pieces are like, they know we like I'll collect different things. So I have a couple dresses up there that are like 100 years old and things like that. That people, it's a donation thing. And then there's actual like people who are members of the Colo Club back in the days. There's a couple original costumes that their mothers sewed all the
Really neat.
sewed all the flowers on. So that's up there. So that's the costume part of it. In terms of the other, people have given us pictures throughout the years and different trophies were won by different sports organizations here.
Like the Big Six right donation.
Yeah, that was up there now.
Just want to make sure we got that going.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay.
But there were,
You were part of that team, weren't you?
we even have some stuff up there from like that really isn't Croatian. There's like the Rankin high school basketball team. There's a couple pictures, old pictures of that up there. There was the baseball team. They were like a local, like I guess almost like a little league team. There's a
Remember the
picture.
name of it?
Yeah.
Merrymakers.
Yeah, there's a baseball team up there, but then there's also the sports like I said, the Croatian sport, the Croatian like the athletic association. There's pictures up there, so that's how we. But a lot of stuff, but the majority of this stuff was just found here in the building. Like when we took over back in the, I don't want to say took over. That sounds bad. When we didn't
When we
take-
came into office.
when we came into office back in like the 90s, it was like almost like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
I'm seriously like we would go.
Into a closet.
We got in their place like, oh my God, here's like their flag, like the flag. We found the flags that they're our old lodge flags. We found them under the stage.
And then the basketball.
Well, I was just telling Scotty about
neat.
that. I said we were in the kitchen. It was Jackie and I. We were making pierogies on a Friday, and I was putting stuff away. And I'm like, why is there light coming in through the top of the cover in the kitchen? And then Jackie and I, like we had to figure it out. So we took everything out of the kitchen cupboard and we climbed up there and there's like we'd stand up there's like a room up there and that's where we found a lot of the athletics. We come out black like coal dust all over us. It was terrible. But yeah, that's how we found that. Ever like nooks and crannies you just find things that like people just stored away like didn't think it was interesting anymore. So but I think it's interesting. I think everything
I
we
just
find-
recently found a picture of President Truman.
Right. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and if you look at the picture upstairs, that's hanging on the. It's actually hanging
Yeah.
on the bar, so that's there. But there's even like old lodge. Like if you look in the front, like if you can take pictures of that too, there's the old. We found those actually in the kitchen in that room above the kitchen. They're actually like uniforms they wore, I guess, for events. Like if they marched in processions and things like that.
Yeah,
There's the Croatian banners that have the red, white, and blue,
Sashes.
the sashes and the hats, and those weren't CFU. Those were like what was it called? I can't. There was a name before the Croatian.
Oh,
The CFU, but it was actually the beneficial clubs like hats. So those are up there. If you look at the sashes, they're like red, white, and blue on one side, and then the wedding procession of the funeral, the whole sash turned over and it's black and silver. So that's up there. There's found those. I think those were up above the bar. I mean, up above the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there were any under the stage. Had a lot of stuff on. There's still some. I think the original basketball hoops are up there. Yeah, there's a scoreboard. I think that came from under the stage. There was a lot under the stage. People just like
So it was a treasure hunt.
yeah, it was. It was like everything got squirreled away everywhere, and like you'd find like just random things too. Sometimes like we actually found there was a crystal ball that hung up in the ballroom. It's still up there, but there's stories behind that. Like what was up there to me is refurbished, but we were told that actually came from the dance hall in Kennywood. Somebody brought it here. So I know we hung up upstairs for many years, but yeah, everything was fine. It was it was a treasure hunt for it's still every once, well, not as often now, but every so often you find something you never knew you had before.
Well, we've had 20 years to look
Right.
for
to
that.
look for it. Well, it's again, that's up to you guys to doing that. So you could have kept it squirreled away, but they're great displays. Whether to take again pictures
Yeah.
of it, get some video of it to showcase so everybody can see some of those pieces. So, a couple closing questions, and I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, and however you want to answer this is there's lots of fond memories, but is there one fond memory that you have over the years, multitude of years, has it been years? That's just too hard of a question. I'll give you an
Personally,
answer.
I don't think it's like one particular memory. I think it's people. There have been,
Oh,
and
right.
it's sort of sad because, the people that, well, you're talking about the past and a name might surface and they're not here with us anymore, but you have like,
I know, yeah, there's a lot, yeah.
Mickey Cushion's of the world, it's just people that pass
Right.
through this building.
Yeah, I mean, I just
And-
remember being here as a kid. Like it's like this, is like the big the secrets. You were like, it was all in this dark down here.
Yeah.
And we at Tampa Racing, we were allowed to sit behind the poles back there.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to come in front. Oh, I need to get something to drink. You get to sit back there. So it was like a big
With
secret.
that little bottle.
Yeah, the little bottles of Coke bottles. The Coke
No,
bottles.
that
Yeah.
actually it was Regent Pot.
Yeah.
That was a local
Region Pop.
And then we had Coke when we were kids, and there was a oh my god, it was like almost like a palm game over in the corner would play that. And with the bowl, remember the bowling, the sliding bowling
Yeah,
game back there,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. That was like that. But she's right when you think about people like there's funny stories like this. John Blazina, he was a manager of the club. Some of the stories with him, I just think
I
we
used
were
to sit and talk to him just to hear his story.
He had some stories, but then I just remember like being a kid with him here,
I
like in
was scared.
Tampa Ritson's. We would always
Afraid of
play
him.
around. He was always so serious about everything. And
Yeah.
the one time we were here and we were playing in the back room, there was a big cooler, and the kids we were one inside the coolers. He caught us. The next week, there was a steel bar across the entire thing. You couldn't slide him up with a lock on it. That's just stuff like that. That's what I remember growing up.
Well, that Vicky Cushion told me the reason why they have the grill on the windows out there. They used to have, he said bands was fun. He said him and his buddies, I guess he was in his late teens, whatever. They would wait till they would close the door when the music started, and then they would climb in the windows.
No.
Yeah, so he said it's his fault that they had that brick up there.
Right. Yeah, you're the funniest. There's so many stories. I wish we would talk to more people more in depth before they would.
Like I said, I used to sit and talk to
Yeah,
John all the
well.
time. Well, he was my uncle, but some of the stories he told me, like the prohibition.
Yeah, they got padlocked for a
Yeah,
year because they were
yeah.
making their own.
They
They were
were
like
making-
teens.
down there. Yeah,
Sorry,
they were
teen.
doing that. Silver's
they had to-
Toes.
yeah. He said when they opened up the door, the cups that they had their key in was all dusty and cruddy.
Because they just left it. They just
Yeah,
left
they-
it.
they made
padlocked
wood.
the building and kicked everybody out, and they just
He
locked
said,
the
and then they
building up.
were opening up the caskets and pouring it down down Fifth Street.
Oh yeah, they
down
busted
here.
the axed them open like with the
He said the pictures you see of the, like Chicago and that, it happened here.
Mm.
I know it was an unfair question, but I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
There's so many. I'm sure there's just so many memories over the years that you can't pick one. But so, future. You said you have a lot of passion and wouldn't be here if you would be doing this because of your passion for the club and everything it represents over the years. So, what are your future hopes, dreams, aspirations? What's your vision?
Well, I think
Our-
we had. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. Our biggest aspiration, vision, the property next door, it needs to be demolished. We inquired about buying the property before it caught on fire, and the price was more than what we wanted to spend. So now we're waiting for them to tear down the building, and then we're going to try to buy the property and make it like a picnic area.
Yeah. Nice.
So that we can expand outward, like maybe we could roast it at a lamb or chicken or something. But that's my biggest, and I think these two
Right.
also.
Well, I think also you have to look towards the future. Like how like just different innovative ways to to support this place, because the club, like, we don't have the steel workers here anymore. We don't have all these local people that would come here after church, that would come down here and spend money that way. So you have to look at different ways to support this place. So that's why we try the different things, like bringing the gypsy strings and things like that. You have to try something. You have to be innovative. I think we have to do a little bit more fooling some of the other people from, and young. We need to, back over 20 years ago, we were the young people that
That's right.
came in here, and now it's like, but then you look, well, who's behind? Like, that's one of my biggest fears. Like, who's behind us? Because you want to try to get some of these younger people interested, and you have to find different ways to do that.
To be truthful, they were actually concerned about that whenever we were just
right. Exactly. I know exactly.
They didn't
Yeah.
know who was going to.
Right.
step
I
up
think
to
about that all the time. Like,
So-
I'd like to do that,
Yeah.
and you kind of look behind you, and you're like,
I try to talk.
who's gonna do this? And we can't anymore. I know. And to try to get, you try to put, like, build up some kind of passion with these younger kids. I mean, that's another thing we have to try to do, I think, here, is just try to get more interest in the younger people that want to come down here, not only just to spend the money and come down here, but like just actually get a true interest in this building to keep it for another 100 years after this. I mean, like I said, like, I worry because I don't know who's behind us. So.
Well, I don't think they knew either whenever.
No.
Because they talked about closing the club when that they were going to.
Yeah, it was not. We were not on solid ground back then. I mean, I think we should all pat ourselves on the back. All of us, if they've got a long time. Absolutely. And we took the bull by the horns, and you just want to keep it going. It's like, just like you ask yourself why you did it. Like, and then you just because you love the place. But I mean,
Sounded good at the time, right?
right? Yeah.
No, but
Not just slinging a mop on the floor like at 8 o'clock at night. Why they, why
or
they
sewing a curtain or something.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sewing the backdrop on the
backdrop,
stage. Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, getting the years, I think the building is about 100 years, coming up on 100 years in 2 years. Is that correct?
Right.
And so, are there thoughts of, how we celebrate that, or
Yeah.
anything like that?
Yeah, some ideas. We really haven't formally sat down,
No.
put a committee together, but I could see that happening.
Later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe inviting some other folks outside of our officers group to be part of that, so that we engage other folks
Yeah.
to encourage them to,
Be more
I think
active.
to be more
Start-
active.
You need to start with like Matt Vertaning with the Candy Cairns. They're good. Candy Cairns are pretty.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're getting interested now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the talks are beginning, and there's 2 years seems like a long time, but it's gonna
That's not real.
No.
And maybe it's a fundraising opportunity too.
Oh,
to
absolutely. Yeah.
look at that way too.
Mhm.
So, yeah, lots of great stuff. You said, pat yourself, well, you should. All three of you and all the officers, all the stewards that have been here through the years. You guys have done a great job. Again, I said this before, you go around to some of these smaller mill towns and steel mills have, the guys aren't there anymore.
Right.
And the clubs still exist because of the work and effort that you all put into this. So, congrats to you. You should pat yourself on the back. You're doing a great job. Keep doing it. Because we need you to do. And we need to help support you as well, right? It can't just be all on your shoulders. The club membership has to step up and help you out as well.
Right.
So, and that's for every club, right?
Right.
It's not just for this one, it's for every club. But thank you, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Marty, for
Yeah,
doing
thank you
this,
for doing
pulling
it.
it together
It's
and
great.
traveling from
Documenting.
wherever you started.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good to see
Harrisburg
you.
area.
Yeah, no, it's been very fun today, and I appreciate you've been gracious hosts. And it's our third trip here, like I said, with Matt and then Janet, like you all.
Can we also say thank you to Scotty?
Absolutely. Filthy 46 Productions is always in the backgrounds, and we're always going to say thank you to them as well. So to wrap up another episode, we just want to say thank you, point of follow, to all of our CRO-AM followers for tuning in again, and to Filthy 46 Productions for all their editing and production expertise. So until next time, Živeli Hrvati, veliki boz I Bog. Catch our next episode where we sit down for a conversation with Jerome Jurinovich,
a sports broadcaster for over 4 decades and an 8-time Emmy Award winner from Atlanta, Georgia. You can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, and other podcast platforms, along with watching us on our YouTube channel or following us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks and appreciation to Jeanette Ruyechan Ellis, Jackie Zidanic, and Bob Pollack for being our guests. Special recognition to Float Queen for providing historical content. Croatian Rankin Home, Filthy 46 Productions, and as always, our CRO-AM followers.
Follow.